the first event of our guest speaker series for the fall 2025. So we have a great speaker today, and we're super excited about the lineup that we have for you guys. So we are very, very grateful for you being here, our returning guests and our new guests, and also our guest in line. My name is Eduardo Novoa. I am the Technical and Training Development Coordinator here at the Ignite Hub, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Anthony Fiora, our Lab Coordinator, and Amber Mello, our Student Assistant. So again, today we have the pleasure of having a great speaker. I think it's going to be a great session, great presentation. And we have Roman Sudan Montegueo II, and he leads Creative Mindset Productions, a mission-driven transmedia studio based in Prince George's County, Maryland, with offices in Tampa, Florida. Roman has over 20 years of experience, and his company specializes in developing video games, game-based training, and video content, crafting immersive experiences through 3D modeling, animation, simulations, music, and interactive media. Roman co-founded STEAM Your Dreams as an extension of this commitment to community impact, using e-gaming and e-sports to make STEM careers engaging and accessible for youth. Through storytelling and gamified learning, he empowers the next generation to explore and thrive in the world of STEM. So please help me welcome Roman to the Ignite Hub. Thank you so much, Roman.
They probably didn't hear me, but I think Eduardo did an excellent job. He wrote that. That was all him. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, I got to thank Anthony right at the back, and because Eduardo for having me here. I want to thank Audrey. Awesome. She's not here, but I'm stepping in to fill in the gap to hopefully provide an interactive session. Right. I like when I speak, when I do panels around the world, I usually don't like standing up and just talking or just something like that. No, I want to get our hands and nails dirty and do some stuff because I'm a maker and a doer. So with that being said, again, please give a hand and a round of applause to Ignite Hub and the team here. They doing a wonderful job. I'm great to be kicking this off, but that's like telling Prince to come up first before Michael Jackson and the rest of the other big pop stars that I grew up on in the 80s and 90s. But definitely Anthony is going to be helping me a lot today because I'm going to try to, even though I kind of flow with my slides, they're really talking points. So let's try, I'm experienced enough. I won't be really talking or reading from that, but I want to feel the energy and the vibe of the room because, I just think this is super dope. This is the first time I've had this kind of intimate kind of hub and setting. So this is pretty cool. So Anthony, do me a favor. Yep, we'll go to the next slide. So when I was asked to take a look at what I wanted to speak on or have this fireside chat on, and shout out to Verizon for the food tonight, and that's a pretty dope thing to do. I wanted to start looking at what I've been speaking on over the years and just really make sure people felt a little more connected to me about how did I get to this journey. And I think my good friend Akila Stevens, who's here tonight with me, and so probably some people online who'll be joining us, they probably heard the stories 1,000 times, but I'm gonna try to make it a little more fun and interactive on that. But what you're gonna hear is the stone cold hard truth. I speak truth to power. So if there's anything that I could do to help in that journey, especially this being a tech hub, can talk to you more than just tech, because the world that we live in, people are starting to solution faster with tech versus really looking empathetically at the human being and trying to solve and trying to really ask the right questions about what the problem is and so on and so on. But they just throw the tech right at the problem, and we need to revisit being design thinkers or being empaths to really understand why we're building such and such. So for me, I've often felt compelled to feel like I wanted to talk upon social impact. So tonight we're going to be looking at bridging purpose and technology for the greater social impact. And that basically saying we're going to look at mission-driven organizations like ours, the one we started, Steam Your Dreams, and how you can use that to ignite creativity and design innovative solutions. You can hit the next slide for me, thank you. And we're gonna look at how I can inspire you guys or to embrace a purpose first mindset, demonstrating how authenticity and creativity and resourcefulness can drive lasting impact. So with that being said, just a little bit more about me, real quick. Just so you know a little bit, I love my home city of Chi-Town, Chicago, the Windy City. You've probably heard of it. Land of pizza. We are more the thin crust. Do not think deep crust, but South Side are true and true. And that means I'm a diehard Chicago White Sox fan, but I help the Washington Nationals win just by giving good juju. Y'all remember that when they won the Nationals? Okay. But just a little bit about me again is that my artistic gifts is what I was able to drive, and it helps me to really connect with kids and engage with them to understand that I let them know that I used to be just like them. So, realizing I have artistic gifts and I have a really huge imagination, I really like connecting with kids and building cool stuff for them. So when I started Creative Mindset Productions, I really wanted to build. I was one of the first people in the country to really start coaching and helping organizations or schools or higher educational institutes understand what immersive media was, immersive media design, and knew that we needed more resources to help us in the immersive media field. So if you ever walked into a museum and you ever walked past an exhibit and you saw some cool stuff happening or a light shined on you or you went to an augmented reality, that's kind of stuff that I started building when I was in my 20s. So I was pretty cool and very blessed to be where in a field where you could use really STEAM. You can really use science, technology, engineering, art, and math to really design and build solutions. So with CMP, I really focused on developing educational entertainment or tools and assets. That's the reason why CMP, in a nutshell, can you hit the next slide for me? In the nutshell, you'll see a slide that comes up very soon. It talks about talks about that Creative Mindset Productions is an edutech company. But I'll start even better than that. I'll jump in and start with 1985 because that was a year that when it says lights out, but when you're trying to discover what your purpose is, every kid's going to want it at some point. And mine's happened when I had my appendix had ruptured and I pretty much was so sick and I was laying on the couch, high fever, throwing up, real nasty stuff, right? And then I realized that when I awake, I was quite different. I just kept asking this question, what am I still doing here? And I started then trying to discover what would be my purpose. What would I be working on? Why am I here on this planet? And what's so special about me? All the cool stuff that people think about, right? No, that's kind of deep at 11 years old because that's how old I was when in 1985 that happened. But just a little bit why that the Thundercats and He-Man is there is because I discovered I could draw and paint around about the time I was about that young lady's age, about 5 or 6 years old. I was practicing drawing action figures and cars, and I saw that I was already designing some of the cool cars that we ride into this day. Nope, I am not lying to you. I pretty much designed the Tesla truck is ugly, but that was my first. It's kind of box. Then I started really drawing some better, like the Chevrolet Avalanche. I was drawing all that stuff at the age of like 7 or 8. So anyway, to God be the glory. So check it out. That's the reason why I got Thundercats, my Lion-O up there and He-Man, because those are my two favorite characters back in the day growing up. And you see him showing off that He-Man's like, yeah, I'm not gonna wait. You keep showing off. But in 1997, the tech boom him. I got married, had two beautiful children. One's still in Chicago. My daughter, my son's out in LA doing audio engineering and production. So in 1997, the big tech boom, and that's when I really saw that my career was starting to come back to where I had jumped into IT. Right, I got my first job as a help desk guy, moved up very quickly to help desk manager, and then started doing networking, Cisco routers and stuff like that. And then when I got a shot to work on websites, I started working. I was working for a company called Metamore in Chicago, and I remember, never forget, I was in a room very much so like this, surrounded a table, and people were asking like, "Hey, we're getting ready to do one of our projects for Warner Brothers was to build the DC Comics. We wanted to build the next Batman or at that time it was Teen Titan Go, but now it's called Teen Titan Go now, but it was Teen Titan. So Macromedia Flash was a big deal back in the day. It was an animation product or two you could use to create games. And that's what happened in the 90s is that I was working for this company and I discovered that I was starting to circle back and use my gifts, arts, and talents because I was getting off that non-linear, that linear path that you think you're going to do. You're going to work in art, I never forget when in the 90s or in the 80s, I had a meeting with my pops. My pops asked me, what was my backup plan? What was my backup plan? Because I told him I wanted to be an artist. Well, he gave me that, like, dude, you're not going to make no money as an artist. You need to have a backup plan. I didn't take that as bad. What I did was I really did think about, hey, I want to get a backup degree, got an accounting degree. I love finance. I love, fiddling around with numbers, but I'm still an artist at my core. So you speed it up around the curve. The 2010 in the 2010s, I took a pilgrimage. Unfortunately it doesn't work out, but I still have great appreciation for my ex-wife. But we had broken up during that time, but I started this pilgrimage to come back to realize that I was starting to get up there in age, and I was like, what am I going to do? And that's when I definitely took advantage of moving away to get more exposure to rebuild myself per se and have a rebirth. So a pilgrimage for me was moving to Bermuda, staying in London, going to school, retooling myself for the new economy that I was seeing down the trend and happening. So that was 2010 in the 2010 area. And then 2019, around 2012, 2014, I came back to the United States. I chose the Washington, D.C. area as my hub. I wanted to come here and be a rock star, being in immersive media because I knew I had all these gifts and skills and talents and new skills that I have. And that's what I did. I wanted to come here and I just said, let's go. I got some funding from my ex-employer because I still sit on the board. And I started Creative Mindset Productions. But the scary thing is, a frat brother convinced me to start up a nonprofit too. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I purposely looked around, asked around to a lot of people, hey, do you know about gaming for kids? Do you have any programs that, that help kids to understand how to code through gaming? Everybody was like, nah, not really. 2018, 2019. So that's how Steam Your Dreams gets done. And we'll talk about that very shortly. But that's my intro. And next slide, please. Thanks. And I like to get interactive. Like I said, talking all day is not my thing. I like to get busy. So let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of kickoff to break the ice between everybody. That way, it also gets me to know a little bit about the people in the room without even really getting to know your name. Guess what? We're going to do a little Menti exercise. So I think it's all ready to go.
Yep. Yep.
Please join in. Okay. Did it start up?
It started.
Okay. All right.
Get on.
Awesome sauce. So the those who are online, I do see you. No, I'm just kidding. I can't see you, but I guess Anthony and I and the rest of the team here at Ignite Hub are just going to buy a few seconds here, more a minute or so, to see if we can get everybody on to Mentimeter. So a lot of times, what I do very well, I do live gamified productions, whether as adults, especially for kids. That's what Steam Your Dreams is really good at. So I love using quiz or trivia and things like that to get my audience engaged. So Mentimeter is a cool tool. It's not as cute and cuddly as Kahoot or Quizzy or one of those other platforms or portals that you might use for this type of interaction. So I choose a lot of times to use Menti. So shout out to Mentimeter for having a free version, which I think allows up to 50. So hopefully we got just enough to get in there.
Okay. All right. Everyone. Okay.
Awesome. So
Concerned.
you're probably wondering while they're doing this and everybody's filling this out, why would I ask a question? How are you feeling in this current space and time frame? I'm going to talk about Ocean Bowl games definitely more in depth a little bit later, just a little bit more a little bit later. You'll see a video too. But this year, we ran Ocean Bowl games, which is a 2-day expo and e-gaming esports tournament here at the universities at Shady Grove here in Montgomery County. And one of my new little young buddies, I never forget, Lucas came up to me and asked me, and I'm the producer that's supposed to be behind the scenes, and he asked me with the utmost sincerity, and I mean straight in the eye at this height. I mean, how are you feeling? I found that to be extremely powerful it was so authentic and sincere about because I guess they all the kids saw me and the rest of the team bouncing around trying to get the games and stuff set up for him that he was concerned about how my energy level was and I found that that's the way we have to get back to doing being more empathetic, being more caring about our people. So I want to ask everybody who's attending this fireside chat, how are you feeling in this current space and time frame, knowing everything that's going on? So I mean, I'm talking about home politics, everything. So I'm glad in this word cloud you can kind of tell it. So what's it say, Anthony? We got intrigued.
Intrigued, ambitious, curious, inspired, good, great, relieved, interested, excited, frustrated, tired, exhausted, concerned.
And I'm gonna use my magic powers. See, I grew up on in Chicago on WGN Channel 9. We had this came to me. We had the Bozo Show, and on the Bozo Show there was a dude. I can't forget the name of the dude. I can't remember his name, but he would go doody doody doody. He was a magic guy or whatever. But I'm trying to see why would somebody say interested, of course, because that's the most highlighted word. Because this should be an interesting night. I brought some cool stuff. Again, it's gonna be an interesting, fun night where we're going to hopefully talk about a lot of those things we said in our primary objective, but we should have some cool. I think curious is big, great is big, good. I love it. Relieve, exhausted. Yes. I love the fact that those are smaller words. Not that people say it. I'm tired. That's probably all adults in the room, by the way. I think frustrated is the one that I would love to dig in, but I can't because we're supposed to be at a tech
Paradox.
yeah, a paradox. Interesting. So cool. Very good. Thank you guys. I think we're going to move on because we'll provide feedback about that a little bit later, or if we get some time, we'll come back to that. But I want to seriously, yeah. Yep. That's exactly what happens with a word. Yeah. So it looks like one, two, three, four, five. You said good, maybe. But a lot of people said interested. This is being the number one and curious. So, and I think that's a very good. That is kind of like a qualitative survey to you guys to let them know that you guys are doing a wonderful job here by running these fireside chats and panels. So that's pretty cool. They're interested. Everybody's interested and curious and feeling great. So awesome sauce. Let's see what the next slide in this Menti is all about. Yep. How many of you feel your organization is currently doing more or less? How many of you feel, notice I said feel, your organization or you, because you are an organization, believe it or not. You're me incorporated. Me, myself incorporated. Is currently doing more with less. How many of y'all feel that? Definitely for sure. Okay. Awesome sauce. It looks like everybody said definitely for sure. They're doing more with less. Absolutely. And why everybody's still coming, I mean, just again, thinking about the current climate of food prices going up and gas, and, all that. And then when you think about us trying to still do innovation, it's becoming, it's a challenge, right? We're still trying to create new things, inventions, new innovations, solve a lot of problems. And we all have to do more with less. So I see everybody's like somewhat, some people saying somewhat, yes. A lot of yeses, which is what I'm looking for. Yes, efficiency also becomes doing more with less time and people. I feel you. One person's like, I'm unbiased. All right. Definitely not more, but they're trying. Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. All right, so I think that was 14 people that got in there and volunteering. Wonderful. Let's go to the next one real quick. What does purpose mean to you in your work? And some of us are not really have a job yet. I'm looking at my fun patron over here. They don't have a job yet, do they? Oh, just good grades. Yeah, just good grades. Go to school, good grades, eat well, stay healthy. But that is work. So, what does purpose mean to you in your work? And this is all really good intel for me as an interactive speaker because I have it in forefront my mind and my spirit when I'm interacting with you guys tonight, and those are online, hopefully, and talking through some of the key points about this particular fireside chat. And that gives information to Eduardo and Anthony too. So we can dig in a little bit somewhere. So I'm looking at some of them because I got seven particular responses. So back, I think, out of 21, we got higher calling, positive impact, when the outcome is positive, provide service, help service. I have an emotional tie and passionate about the work while helping others and making an impact. That's dope. Impact, let's go. Giving an impact on my colleagues and okay. Service, service, service. I love it. I love it. Love it. Because these are all, I mean, I had the same thing when I was designing the deck with Canva, which we're going to talk about all the tools I use when I'm doing more. Because we're going to talk about what tools I use to really do more with less right now. But I love it. Okay, great. So we're going to move on because I think we gave 16 folks a good chance to feel involved in a part of this, which is dope. So what's next after this one? Name me one tech tool that is saving you money and more and making you more productive, whatever you're doing. Name me one tech tool. Give me one tech tool. Your main thing to go in your tool chest. Chat GDP or chat got you. GOT. Yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah. So we might as well say chat GDP is basically AI Office 365. Okay. Shout out to Microsoft who's not giving us money for this tonight. Okay, Verizon's the only one who's chipped in. We appreciate y'all again, Verizon and Montgomery County College, by the way. That's what Ignite Hub is part of. What else we got? Heck yeah, man! I want to dig into some of this, man. I wish we had a lot. I wish we had 2 or 3 hours. Don't y'all wish we had 2 or 3 hours together? No? Okay, a little bit. Because look at that. AutoCAD. I want to know who's doing that. Google Calendar. Heck yeah. Let's go. What would I be without a calendar? Because a lot of us can't afford to have an assistant or teacher's assistant. Anybody, so and again, filling in the gap because I'm giving you feedback on how I do more with less. Interns, what would I be without them? Both unpaid and paid. So I work a lot with University of Maryland because I live right in College Park and the office is in College Park. So I partner with Terps. Any Terps in the building? Oh, there's one. Anthony's in the building. So University is really a really great school, one of the top ones in the country, really known for innovation, being and I think they copied that from me, Anthony, by the way. You'll see it on the banner if you drive in College Park where it says relentless, radical, fearless. I mean, I really was, and I got friends that will attest that's how I am. I have to be because to do more with less, those are some of the traits and characteristics that you want to have. But look at this, need the money first. I'm telling you, I love the humor, but I think you're telling the truth. Name me one tech tool that is saving you money and more productive. You need money. Excel spreadsheets. I don't know what I do with that. I live the dream. I live my best life through PowerPoint slides and spreadsheets, so that's good. Upnote. Who's still using Upnote? That's pretty cool. My alarm is a reminder. That's pretty dope. All right, your iPhone. Oh my God, that thing's attached to your hip. It's all. We're basically walking around with smartphones. I'm old enough to remember when the first phones come out, of course, and to know that we come this far. It's amazing, but let's keep going, y'all. So that's pretty good. But the Google Calendar seemed to have, I don't think only, what's strange about the word cloud sometimes? I don't know if a lot of people put in Google Calendar, but it seems to be the biggest. Maybe because it's the first. Yeah, maybe it was the first because it's like, okay, that was probably the first. But pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for participating. What's next? Pomodoro timer. All right, question 101. 11 players ready. That's probably the last big. Okay, 13 players ready. Okay, all right. All right. Look at everybody's icon popping in. The cool thing is the alien in the 8 ball. These are cool characters. Go ahead, Minty. Shout out to innovation right here. Bless you. They use what's the coding that's used behind here? HTML5. I get young folks asking me how do they make it so interactive and cool like this now. So what you want to be learning at a Montgomery College or through the whole college systems, HTML5 to do this kind of stuff now, which of course will tie back to JavaScript and some other coding languages if you can learn. But anyway, let's go ahead, hit enter. Let's see this real quick question. Just one more thing. Answer quickly to get more points. Let's see who's going to come in number one. In 22-2, deuce deuce, there were underscore status dropouts between the ages of 11 and 24. Take a guess. Wow. And y'all answered so fast. See how much confidence we thought it was a low number of 200K? I was just as shocked too. That's the reason why I put the source up there. If you're a speaker, or you come doing any work, research, any kind of papers, you know you better put some sources out there because we're living in a world where people are saying that's fake truth and all that crap, right? So what's right? Fact check. So what are your sources? Well, my source is the Department of Ed, and they always put out tons of surveys. And look at that number, 2.1 million kids dropping out of high school. And that number, and that was 22, and that number pretty much has been consistent, even though it has dropped. And if you go to the website, you will see that it says like, hey, in 2022, it actually dropped to like 5.3%. That still amazes me though. They talk about millions of kids in the United States drop out. Question is, why? Right, that's like a pandemic and an epidemic, right? What's the difference between a pandemic and an epidemic? No? They, pretty much, yep. Because pan, the word, the preposition. So I'm with you. To me, it all sounds bad no matter what. So to me, wouldn't this be considered if 2.1 million people got sick, wouldn't that be bad? Ain't that horrible? So we got people dropping out. And that could lead to many up and downstream impacts and problems like kids who lose hope, commit suicide, all kind of negative bad stuff like committing crime, not feeling like they can get a job anywhere, you name it. So I think education was one of the reasons why, and this is why I started with this. And we can effectively go back to my tool of choice right now, Canva, because I think that was the last one for that. I appreciate it. Again, thank you so much, Anthony. So let's go back to the slideshow because it's time to dig back in. Did you guys enjoy that? A little bit of that? Because I think it's a great arc to the next slide, which is, well, before I get to this, I'm going to talk about what the problem is. I'm coming back to it. So before I tell you why I brought that fact about the 2.1 million kids dropping out of high school, I want to give you some Roman Sudan's 2025 plus, meaning it's going to be a year from y'all. Y'all will be saying these terms. And y'all going to be like, yeah, I remember that guy said that. For instance, tonight you might hear words like solution package. And what is it? So in a nutshell, I like to think people to consider that for me, a solution package is when you are effectively taking a product, you've built something, manufactured something, and you've coupled it with a service management contract, or you provide service with that. That's what I mean by solution package. And when you're delivering and producing one of those and delivering and producing one. So you might hear me say that, solution packaging or building that, okay, buzzwords. And one of my favorites, okay, again, I didn't know she was coming tonight, but yeah, Miss Stevens, Akila Stevens, actually said this in a meeting accident. It's a true story. She said it's logo, right? And I finally decided to really make sure I brought it out because I love bringing it out. What is a slogo? Other than it sounds like something you would like a yogurt you would serve, but it really is a portmanteau of the two words slogan and logo. And in short, it's like what and how many brands or products you have under your corporate umbrella that support and bring value to the mission. It's like basically show me what it is. That's the logo. Because when you see that brand, that Coca-Cola brand, that Microsoft or Palmolive, you name it, any of these big brands, and you go down the street and you see it, then what is also show me, but tell me, meaning I'm listening for it too. So visual learner, auditory learner, but that's why when certain commercials come on, that's why jingles are still important. When you hear sound assets or what we call sound audit, sound assets, you'll hear a little ding, ding, ding. That's why when you hear Da 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 da. What does that do? Right. But don't you? But what do you see? What do you see visually? Right. You don't? Did you see the arch? Ain't that amazing how that works? That's why people get paid big bucks in marketing. So for Slogo, though, I'll give you some examples when I talk about them. I say these are some of the Slogos under my corporate umbrella. Okay. Thank you so much. Next slide. I'm going back to what I said about us being an edutech company. Education was something I decided to really focus on because I was driven by that problem. That in 22 you saw that report. But I remember doing when I started Steam Your Dreams too, the nonprofit. I said I ran a program, a pilot program down in Tampa with 30 boys between the ages or grade levels third through fifth. No, it was all third grade. I'm sorry. It was all third grade. And a lot of these boys were showing behavior issues. This is during COVID and or just on the cusp of we coming out of COVID. And we wanted to run our program. We wanted to prove a point that gaming can be truly fun and engaging. If you gamify the learning experience, you can drive up engagement because again, it goes back to the problem. What is the problem? What is the challenge that that I'm trying to solve, okay? Which is how do I get some of these kids to start feeling, stop all these kids from dropping out, but you got to keep peeling back the onion. So the company Creative Mindset Production is a for-profit company. Yeah, it's educational tech company. Next slide for me. I have a slogan of the company already. And it's the logo for the company is very plain and dry, simple. Why? Because I feel like I already blast my audiences with enough of my graphics and cool stuff. So I came up with just Creative Mindset Productions. The logo and I started sketching. Normally when I design think, I sketch, I plan, I design things out, I draw them out, and then I begin building stuff out. So the actual logo in the middle is pretty much the logo of my company, but the slogan is, of course, my slogan is "Be Creative." Hashtag Be Creative. And the reason why the art's there because I want you to use your imagination and creativity when designing solutions, and so that's what it really means. And the company is, I think, when you build companies, it should be built upon who you are, right? And a lot of times, for me, with all my gifts and talents and skills in the world of music, because I could draw and paint since I was 6 and play music by ear since I was 7, 8. So I really just built a company around who I was at my core as a gifted artistic dude, right? So that's what it is. The services I provide all around my gifts and talents: videography, sound design, animation, and of course, I picked up the skills on learning how to publish and do awesome stuff like product development. So those are all the services that Creative Mindset Production offers. That's my slogan. Next slide, please. Going back to the problem, I want you to really understand that when you're searching for your purpose, like I was in 1985 and I've been on this journey of many roles, and you'll soon see in life, we're talking about convergence in a second, that you will end up back if you tap into the universe and get your calling. You got to listen for it. You got to be still, right? You got to really got to still. You can be, because there's a lot of noise right now. You may get bumped over or ran over to get your calling, but once you get your calling, you got to answer that call, because then that's going to be your purpose, right? And then your passion becomes your fuel that will ignite your drive to do it. So for me, it was, my calling was seeing this, and seeing for a fact that when I currently still go to schools. Akila is the executive director. Miss Akila Stevens right here. She's the executive director of Steam Your Dreams. We see it most often when we go to certain schools. Some of these kids still can't read. This is 2025. And if you peel back the onion of why they're dropping out, well, a lot of educators, much more smarter than me in the world of educational philosophies and methodologies and approaches and pedagogies, whatever, they will tell you that it starts right there reading. A lot of them can't pass math because the math scores are down because they can't read. And they can't do the science because they can't read. And when I say reading, I mean comprehension too. I mean, like, hey, Johnny got 5 apples. He gave 2 to Jane. And you know what I mean? So you got tons of kids dropping out. And then what hit me home, because this hits directly to me, is that millions leave high school, then 33% of that number are black and brown boys specifically. So I said, what can I do about that? Because it was starting to eat home here. And what fuels my fire is seeing it again, like every day, every week, every school I go to, there's always a kid where I see is struggling in reading or can't read or doesn't speak very well, all that. So I just want you to understand to get to really your purpose or really making social impact, you have to really define what the problem is or challenge you really want to try to address. And you want to make sure you do your research and understand a little bit more of that natural calling you may get. Okay. Next slide, please. That natural calling, like I said, when I said before, just to reiterate and put the pillars on that thought and hopefully I've incepted in your minds, which is starting CMP was just for profit. And I did not want to, again, start a nonprofit. But when I did, when I commit, I commit. You know what I mean? But of course, was like spreading myself thin. But then I found what the universe is showing me. What God was showing me was like, hey, you can do both because I got you. Your steps are ordered. So here it is. We discovered what the mission early on was to engage and inspire and empower kids to get in STEM careers. But we knew to get them going was to get it through gaming. We wanted them to understand that the letter A in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, the art doesn't mean you necessarily have gifts and talents of drawing and painting and playing music like me, but you could just be a critical thinker, a creative problem solver. How do you know? We put kids in situations. We do. And you'll see it when we play in games and so when they start doing teamwork and collaboration and talking to one another. That is a part of art because to me, art doesn't necessarily mean I can draw and paint. It means there's something in me, there's an imagination, something creative about me that I can pull out of me and I can make better for the world, which is pretty cool. So here's a slogan. You can't see our picture in picture is over it, but it's in the right upper right hand corner. It says slogan. Here's a logo. One of the first logos I had to create through trial and error. It was. My team will tell you, I didn't start with Steam XR Sports, but it kept evolving. I kept going back to the drawing board and I came up with a holistic approach and I wanted to make it very digestible for audiences like yourselves, for people to understand what we were doing. It's based upon the world I come from. On the south side of Chicago, we would come home from school, and I'm one of 9. So my oldest sister, shout out to them, my oldest brother, them, they were responsible for watching. Shout out to my mom because she took care of us, kept us. We were just really well taken care of considering all the kids. We didn't grow up super rich. We straight up, boom. So when we came home, we had our school clothes on. So we had to take those off real quick. And before we went outside, though, we asked permission to go outside. We would say, hey, well, we got to do our homework. If we didn't do our homework, we couldn't go outside. And to me, that's where the brain games come in. So when kids are playing our Steam XR Sports, it's a platform. And brain games are STEM-based projects, Steam-based projects that they have to do to get points. Everything is gamified with Steam Your Dreams. Everything. That's what makes us truly unique. Now, I'm going back to that story. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I can go outside, I go play, right? I get dirty, I come back in, I'm a stanky boy, I get cleaned up, so I'm filling in the gaps. Steam Your Dreams, we have coaches that work for us. We're not teachers. We may teach during the day, but all our coaches, all our staff are pretty much called coaches. And we fill in the gaps by letting them know about health and hygiene and financial literacy. So we're still filling the gaps. But once we come in from playground games, we played Nintendo. Back in the day, how many of y'all played Nintendo Duck Hunt? Anybody know about Duck Hunt? Okay, there's a couple of people here who know about Duck Hunt and Donkey Kong and some old games. Exactly. That's what I grew up on, Atari. You know, I remember Centipede, all that good stuff, going to the arcade with 25 cents. Hard to believe, but yes. So we couldn't do e-gaming and e-sports unless we had did our brain games, unless we had done our physical activity, playground games. So those are the 3 pillars of what we do with kids with that. That's what Steam XR Sports is. It's a league for kids, a program for kids. It's been very successful to thus far, and that's the basis of what we do. That's the slogan. Thank you. Next. So I'm gonna jump in, switching it up, and I'm talking about prototyping purpose. We wanted to take Steam Your Dreams, do the slogan, and we built Steam XR Sports, but we wanted a scholastic esports league. So we were the first to really say, let's jump into esports, but let's use the gaming to get kids attracted. Again, our mission is to engage. How do you engage them? Well, you got to get down their level. So that's what we did. So next slide. When you're doing this, I love to share with people what I kind of use as my basis. Now, I didn't know these words. I did read a book called Kaizen. My father-in-law back in the day had a book in his library called Kaizen or product management, I think, or process management in his library, and I read that book. But that led me down a rabbit hole. Okay, you're gonna hear me say that often about rabbit holes, or get it back to the yellow brick road. Now, Ikigai is what it's all about. I hope I said that right. So not to offend anybody, but it's a reason for being. But it's basically finding your purpose, right? It's the interaction of what you love, what you're good at, and seeing what your calling is, your purpose, and rocking and roll with that. So it's this round circle, but to me, that's kind of like number one. And I'm not, I stole this from the internet, of course, like everybody else. But shout out to the internet. It says number one in the diagram, but the reality to me, finding your purpose is first, and then everything else kind of follows. But then Kaizen is really what I mean about building products and then getting your MVP. Anybody know what MVP is?
Minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product. Yes. And then doing continuous improvement. And what I mean by that, again, it goes back to how some of us help to design and build design thinking. That's a framework and a methodology on how we do user-centric design thinking, like UX or user experience and UI. So the reality is, a lot of people get hung up, you'll hear me talk about this, on trying to develop a product and they're looking for perfection and they never ship it. They never get it out. But I have become a master of saying, you know what? I designed my MVP, I lock and load, and I rock and roll. Steam XS Sports and all the games that we built, you'll see some of the games we demoed tonight. You probably hopefully get the chance to play them, right? You'll see what I mean by that. How we went from this ugly duckling to, oh my God, and we got more to come. So that's continuous improvement. Kaizen is pretty cool. Next slide. I was just saying the video games are, and the industry itself, this is a $200 billion industry. Let that soak in for a moment. And showing these stats to people to remind them that everybody pretty much, show of hands and online. How many of y'all play games? Notice I said games. I didn't say what type of games yet, but how many of y'all play games? Board games? Yeah. Mind games? No. The dating game? No, I'm kidding. We all play games, yeah. Show of hands. We all tend to play games. Some of us are so bored sometimes we'll play some of the most popular games are Candy Crush. A lot of kids play Roblox, all that stuff. So at some point, we're all gamified. We pretty much play games. But some people, of course, take a look at the data and they see and they started doing what's called esports, making games more competitive. When I was growing up, we used to go to the arcade and put $1 down playing Mortal Kombat. Well, just playing it, boom, boom, boom. And that's basically what esports is all about. Esports is when we take video game or e-gaming and we play against each other or teams, and we're going competitively for prizes and awards. And there's still, even though esports 1.0 has taken a hit, esports 2.0 is coming. What is esports 2.0? Esports 2.0 is when indie game developers, like my studio, which is small, we build mobile games or other games, and we have other titles that you compete in. Because right now with esports 1.0, a lot of people who play some of those top games, they know about League of Legends, they know about Rocket League. These are some of the big game titles out there, right? And those are the ones that are associated and seem to they've taken up the space of esports, and there's no one penetrating back in that market. So that's right. That's why I'm a strong component and evangelist of esports 2.0, of the new era where we, as game developers, can develop games that are cool and meant to be played either as individual or as teams, and then compete and win prizes and awards. So $200 billion industry. So video games, I want to get a kid's attention, even though you can see the chart, books are still high, film, entertainment. I heard somebody say Instagram today that going to the movies is taking a hit. Yes. Anybody notice that? So a lot of this data is going to be changing very soon. Next slide, please. I love the commonsense.org media diet surveys they put out. So shout out to them. Um, and they always do these wonderful surveys and infographics and showing people exactly what it looks like for kids, tweens, and teens. And as you can see, that their media diet, these kids love going online videos, video games, and social media. So let's go ahead and just be honest with one another. Those three online videos. Where do they go for online videos? I'm going to say social media is basically under the category of social media. You do have multiple sub branches. So I agree. Online videos, but the number one is though, YouTube. Without a doubt, YouTube. They're going out to watch their favorite gamer. They go out and watch eating. Yes, they watch other kids eat or open gifts. Unpackaging is very popular. This is what kids love to watch. And we as adults, especially parents, have to pay attention to that, right? Because that's one way we can stay in tune with what they're doing, what they're watching, and keep them safe. Because Steam of Dreams is building games and stuff that keeps kids safe. They can play, learn, and create. Video games. What's the number one games that a lot of teens and tweens still play? There's a lot, but let's just. Thank you. Roblox, Minecraft. Yeah. Notice I didn't throw those logos for this meeting or this fireside. I just didn't want to do it. I ain't with no trouble. I ain't getting no trouble since I'm a game developer. Social media. You mentioned TikTok. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, the kids are addicted to TikTok. Okay. I remember when Snapchat came out. That was just one generation. It's like every generation has their thing. When we were starting out, it was MySpace and then Facebook and then blah blah blah. Man, you name it. Remember those days? Now the kids look at us like, MySpace, what is that? Facebook, what is that? Even though Facebook owns IG. Facebook owns WhatsApp. And by the way, WhatsApp is an extremely popular social media tool for the rest of the world. It's like here in the United States, so we get so locked up in our world that we're forgetting, like, for instance, football or soccer, right? The world is playing football, and here in the United States, we call it soccer. But the whole entire world, watch this, and FIFA's coming here to the United States. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about that. But the world's, everybody in the world is pretty much on WhatsApp. I'm not kidding. People got numbers and emails. You can get on there. And WhatsApp is pretty, they say, secure. So, but it's one of the most popular tools, but it's not as popular here in the United States. Go figure. But who owns it? Facebook. Pretty interesting, right? So do you know what your child is playing is a very valid question. Keep that in mind when you think about when this whole five-star chat was about what I'm doing, what was driving me to develop EduTech, because I wanted to develop edutainment products. I wanted products that would teach kids just as long as allow them to play it, because I too, again, I grew up old school. Like, I don't appreciate 100% screen time. I like games that think and help you to monitor that, like let you know, notification, like ding, hey, your kid has been on there for 1 hour. We're gonna shut it down in 30 seconds. Go read a book, or make them read it, or pop up in the game. Read this to continue. Do this homework. Watch this video on dolphins, because y'all see I love dolphins in a moment. But anyway, next slide. And that is a perfect caveat to what sparked me. Yes, you saw my dolphins. You got to have a story. And remember, I'm going back to the number one the slide for this particular, because I'm going into the process on how I do less with more, but I'm giving you an example, right? I did more with less but you got to me, I use Walt Disney as inspiration. I use other innovators and inventors and creators, and saw how they were able to make their art come to life. And with me, I was consulting and working at the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago when I was taking a break at the Oceanarium, and a dolphin that splashed me and just was clicking and whistling. And I didn't get mad because I was on my BlackBerry, but anybody know what a BlackBerry was? Okay. And I was still on my break doing my thing, but then a spark of inspiration happened to me. I was like, man, dude, I saw the trainers playing with the ball, knocking them into hoops and passing the ball. The dolphins get exercise. Believe it or not, most aquariums and zoos, the dolphins and other animals, especially mammals, are taking better. They eat better than us. But anyway, that's another thing. I don't want to go there. Again, I'm gonna stay on the yellow brick road. Let's stay there. Don't go down that rabbit hole. So I wanted to come up with a cool storyline off. I used design thinking. I was like, man, what if dolphins had and other marine animals had their own kind of sports league? What if they played football? What if they played basketball and got together for a tailgating party and kicking and knocking around goals on the water? You know, see it? Can you imagine that? And that's what happened to me. I literally over the weekend wrote an 8,000 word short story, and I came up with the title Ocean Bowl because every year we get together for the Super Bowl. I don't know who was watching the Ravens last night versus the Bills and who's a commander. Any commanders and fans? No. Okay. So you feel me? So it's like football is hot. I mean, football, everybody's pretty much trying to either some kind of way be a part of the NFL. And by the way, I have a super heightened sense of power of observation. I'm always looking for trends. I see a trend right now with kids and most organizations that run nonprofit programming for kids. Flag football. Flag football is starting to take off like crazy. So just let you know. Ocean Bowl is a cool, great story about a Jay and his dolphin friends who basically are, the plot and premise of it is that they all have different gifts. Odin looks like an orca, but it's actually, did my research, is southern right whale. It's a dolphin a species of dolphin that doesn't have a dorsal fin, that fin on the back. So again, and I was thinking about how we're all different, right? And we all bring certain gifts and talents to the table. Big thing on diversity, right? And wouldn't you know it, those species of dolphins are very fast, very athletic. And when I was drawing and designing these characters, it was pretty cool to come up with Odin because I stayed with him. And everybody's like, how'd you come with Odin? That's right, Odon. How did you come with it? But I got cool names for all the characters, Oria and Zach. Those are the other two dolphins. Those are his kids. So I started small with a story. But you know where my imagination was taking me? As large as Walt Disney. I mean, I could see this as Ocean Bowl world, as big as a Splash world. But I knew I had to, I wanted it to be built upon kids would be doing brain games, playground games, and e-gaming esports. So Ocean Bowl was the story, but you got to start. You got to have one. So what's the next slide? I'm so close. I'm tapping the thing. How to do more with less. So if you have a story, and you're sketching it out, what are you going to do? And I love this guy right here. When I was staying overseas in Bermuda, and I had a chance to go stay over in London and get executive certs in organizational philosophy and a lot of other good stuff. I saw this guy at TEDx in Edinburgh, Eddie Obing. I think he's Ghanaian, and his TEDx is powerful. He's a wonderful speaker, and he talks about smart failure, basically meaning fail fast, learn faster. I mean, do it often. How many of y'all remember falling off a bike? But you learned how to ride, didn't you? Yeah, it hurt, but you got up and you was like, now you can go around town. You can go, hey, I'm going down to my buddy's house and get down there faster. And that motivation and purpose, the reason why you want to ride that bike is a great way to say, I failed. I fell off that bike, but I got back on it and I learned how to do it. So watch Eddie Oving. I won't run that video today, but you can check him out. It's pretty cool. Next slide, please. I got my story. Then I'm feeling fast with Ocean Bowl story because I'm like, yeah, I built the book. I wrote the book series first because I wanted to do the animation. I wanted the book series and the series to be science. I wanted to be STEM in the book because I felt like kids needed exposure, especially kids that look like me need exposure to understanding about oceanography, marine biology, and other sciences because the world is over 70% water. But we don't do enough research about that, considering all the different things that's happening to our world right now. Again, finding different problems and challenges, like, for instance, climate change. It's real. Hurricanes and stuff like that. All that stuff is affecting us. So how do we solve for that problem? Anyway, what are the laws of design thinking? We build and we keep it focused on our players. That's what we do. We do a lot of testing with our kids. And a lot of times it's real-time testing and feedback sessions and feedback loops. I literally, we literally built Aquaball League, which we'll talk about. It's our esports title that we play on the PC. And I have it here tonight to demo. We really built, I'll never forget this. We literally built like a version 1.5. Anybody know about version control? Mm-hmm. Right. So 0.5 means I haven't even launched the product yet. not to the market, not to but we built point five and said, forget it. I want to see if this game is cool enough. And that's what we did. Well, a lot of our games, we did the ultimate test. We put it right in front of the kids and saw the results firsthand. And then we let the whole world see it too, because you can see that in some of our videos at steamxrsports.org, or you can see it at our YouTube channel, Steam XR Sports, and you'll see all the great footage and body of work that we've been doing, and you'll see kids playing the game, and it's like, oh, it looks pretty cool. But then we kept doing Kaizen, continuously improving the product, and right now the newer version looks even doper. Again, all of our games have edutainment because in order for a kid to be really successful in the game, they need to answer certain questions. Those questions can be STEM or curriculum, like a math question to pop up at the game, which we'll hopefully see in the demo. You answer that question, it hits the goal or gives them a power. So it's motivational for them, okay? But we build with them in mind, not us. Because people might look at Aqua Bowling, what you might say, oh, it looks goofy, it looks soft, it looks too cutesy, right? I don't want to do that. But the kids love it. Because believe it or not, kids will show you and be real with you. If they don't like it, they'll be like, I ain't rock with that. I'm not doing that. So we love that our real-time feedback and audience testing is just, we love it. Next slide, please. Community. I don't know where we'd be without the community and the kids. Again, what we do is with this, we created Ocean Bowl games. It's a flow to everything I've been saying tonight, right? So I hope that everybody's still tracking with me, because I know, again, we had a long day probably at work and stuff like that. But when we built Ocean Bowl games, we did it with 24 kids in Baltimore, Cockeysville. We started with 24 kids. And now, this year, we did like 420 kids between doing it in Baltimore and also doing it in here at USG in Montgomery County, University of Shady Grove. And this video, which we're going to run right now, gives me a perfect opportunity to take a water break. We're just going to run in a few minutes of it, 2 minutes, if you don't mind, and give people a preview of, or I wouldn't say preview, but of the video they can easily watch through this link. And those who are online, again, we're going to be sharing this through PDF, this slide. So you'll be able to, if you didn't get a chance to click on it yet.
A stranger, I was the kid who would never back down. You get the anger, I get the pain, but I gotta win, so I'm never last out. Butterfly stomach, cause I really want it. I come from the dark, so cut the lights out. Heart of a lion, the steps of a giant. Don't step in the ring, cause I'll never tap out. Y'all better hold the wall before it falls apart. Cause when I stomp the ground, either y'all run or crawl. Y'all better call the law, or else it's au revoir. Y'all never seen this before. Y'all never seen this before.
And then I was able to get a shot, and then I won. I was so happy. I'm so happy. I grabbed him. Let's go!
I broke off all the chains. My eyes like the sky.
The goal was stopped. They threw it up over the goal. I ran around in front, threw it up, jumped up like MJ. Bang, spiked it into the net. I had no idea what just happened.
Y'all better hold the wall before it falls apart. Cause when I stomp the ground, either y'all run or crawl. Y'all better call the law, or it's au revoir. Y'all never seen this before. Y'all never seen.
Great. And you can watch more of this video and more content that we have up. Again, it's on our channel, Steam XR Sports, and of course, my company's website channel. So definitely you'll get a kick out and you'll see all the energy in the room. So what did you see about all that? I want to tell you guys, for me personally, it's joy and happiness and fun. And having true excitement and engagement playing games, but knowing they're going to learn it. So once you see the whole video, you'll see that, again, they're doing STEM, they're doing brain games, they're doing the playground games. That's what they do at Ocean Bowl games. It's a 2-day STEM festival and e-gaming event that we've been doing since 2022. Next slide for me. All right, so careers to play, game development, play gateway. So just to highlight a few points from this is that, it's a gateway to opportunity. Game development is will provide you transferable skills. So we normally engage kids and teach them about esports production and game development. So there's not only that, but if you learn about esports production, you learn about journalism, writing, and how to work a camera, how to do audio. So these, of course, are STEM fields. So as long as we inspiring kids through play, we giving them a gateway and opportunity to get into STEM fields. So that's why careers through play, I think, is a pretty cool way of saying, hey, we're just providing a space for them to learn more about them, give them exposure to learn about how games could and teach them certain skills, while especially by building those games. Because we use Microsoft Make Code to do that. All right, next slide. All right, here's another logo. All right, so Aqua League, you saw it in the game, and I'm going to compare that against another one. So again, just why did I start Aqua League? Because again, esports, just allowing kids to have that interactive, immersive experience and enjoy one another, and then having to do math to earn those power-ups to be able to hit the ball better and stuff like that, and have speed boosts. Those are all just good, clean sport ways, because the power of sport to get kids engaged and do sport. So this is our way of getting kids excited about the future, about having an esports title. Next slide. And this is about nonlinear pathways too, because I was talking about convergence earlier, about how in tech careers, you may think you're starting, but you might find your gifts and your talents, but at some point there will be a huge conversion in your life. If you find your calling and purpose, you took your calling, you took your purpose, you will see that the universe will be aligning things to get you back on track. And there may be a convergence. And when I talk about pathways, a lot of folks need to understand, without collaboration and partnerships, how do I do more with less? Is through, because I have excellent partners through, can you hit the next slide? University of Shady Grove, Virginia Tech. These are just some of the people that we do it. And of course, the parents that we work with. This slide is one of those ones where I just wanted to talk about or just highlight the fact that parents are starting to see that kids do love gaming. They are getting into gaming and that they're investing in it. So to continue to invest in kids is a wise idea. And to actually ask them what they want to do, and let that be a gateway or pathway for them to get into STEM careers. Just it's another way just to, put the vegetables, for instance, make a plant-based cake. that's what it is, a plant-based cake. Gaming is like, and of course don't put a whole bunch of sugar in it, but next slide. All right, so I'm getting to that point where good, we're going to do some things, and I know hopefully we're still good on time, but we're doing more or less insights. I'm a rapid fire. Tools that I use to get here. I'm talking about the ones I use right now because I'm addicted to it and I keep it simple. Over the very far right, I use some logos. I decided to put them on my slides. Canva right now I use for like mind mapping, designing, you name it. Canva is definitely my favorite tool of choice because I get to share very easy on the internet. So if you're not on Canva, it's just one of those tools you can use. There's others, right? I still have Adobe Suite. That's when I'm doing high-end editing or changes and stuff. But Canva is one of those tools that does offer free mode, but you'll soon get addicted like me and really see all the power that it offers. And shout out to that Australian company, but because they're making billions now, but they need it because they are making improvements very often. They're probably using Kaizen and continuous improvement. Believe it or not, since I can't afford, I'm again doing more with less with so many people because I'm still a young, new indie company, my for-profit company. I have to go to Fiverr or Upwork or these other particular freelance contract to work kind of resource pools to get developers. And I mentioned interns. I mean, these are ways I do more with less. So you want to find those out. You can use Fiverr. Do know that the best thing, here's some thought, here's some feedback. Do know that you have to be a great negotiator and get whoever you're working on to build your prototype. And for instance, if you want them to build a game or app, give very clear requirements when you're giving them, document that. And you can use ChatGPT to help you now write stuff. You can use Office or one of these other tools that I saw through the word cloud to help you get that job done, to make sure it's very clear about what you're doing and what you're asking for when you especially reach out on Fiverr or one of these other tools. I don't think you guys know how powerful AI is. Does everybody know? Okay, good. So there's tons of them, and people are creating tons of apps based upon other language models. So there's a wonderful article I can share later on the top 20 AI tools. I have a link to that. But some rapid fire communications, Words matter. That's all great stuff for you to know that how I'm doing more with less. You got to know your MVP. Um, do you have a lack of imagination? That could be a reason why you haven't quite figured out how you can do more with less because you have to right now, right? Things are tight, so we got less money to do things. Our government politics are affecting, especially organizations like Steam Your Dreams, our nonprofit. So we couldn't get certain grants or whatever. So we had to continue to evolve and use and find ways. Well, that takes imagination to do it. So you got to believe in yourself enough to be like, I'm possible instead of impossible. You get that? All right. Rapid prototyping. It's a great, sure way. Just remember I said about smart failure. And you can do that through using all these tools. Again, we trying to throw technology at the solution maybe too fast versus trying to just make sure we get something up and going. So learning how to the processes of rapid prototype and designing something, getting out there and see if it works. There are tons of tools. I mean, do you guys know you can go to your local library right now because majority of them have a 3D printer if you do a search? Say, for instance, you want to build something like an actual new phone case or something or whatever, something some cool like some biotech. Well, you can actually go to your local library or your local university, and they have 3D printers, commercial size at some of the big. I know University of Maryland. At University of Maryland, we printed out our Ocean Bowl Games trophy cup. It's in one of our pictures. We used the industrial commercial size 3D printers. It cost us maybe $200 or $300 to do versus shipping it out to a trophy maker. That would have cost us at least $20,000 to do. So yes, we created our own Ocean Bowl Games cup by using a 3D printer. All right. Be fearless, be relentless. I say that. Sacrifice. This is the biggest thing I can tell a lot of folks they don't realize about me. I've had to sacrifice tremendous, and you're gonna have to do it if you really want to do more or less. You really want to bring your products to life, and that's the bottom line. I play chess when I can, and I know that you can win the game with 2 or 3 pieces. But you're gonna have to sacrifice sometimes a lot of your pieces to win the game. And that's what you're trying to do. Just win the game. Aim for excellence, not perfection. It's a really big thing to me. I always underpromise and overdeliver now. And a lot of my clients respect that. They love that because I'll be like, hey, we coming in to help you with math scores, or, I'm speaking on terms of Steam Your Dreams right now. We'll come into an organization like a school and be like, hey, we'll help you with math scores by using our enrichment programming with our Steam XR Sports. And we'll say, we'll raise math scores by 2%, but we do it by 11%. It's set the bar high, but you know what I mean? So underpromise, overdeliver. Input, output. I think this is one of those things I just tell my young folks, watch what you letting inside your ears and putting in your mouth, because whatever you put in, you get out. You really do have to start watching what you take an input and out, because believe it or not, it affects what you're going to be designing and building. A lot of times I listen to jazz or other kind of soft lo-fi music when I'm designing and building, because believe it or not, it will affect it. Those are frequencies. We are energy. Okay. Next slide for me. All right. Heads up. These are some cool things. Captain Obvious. AI is here. Do you know the difference between prompt engineering, context engineering? I hope so, because AI really requires you to feed it the right materials. Again, input, output. Just like you're personally trying to take things into your body that's going to keep you nice, strong, and performing well. Well, if you really want AI to produce a well-written statement or product or whatever you're trying to do, you got to feed it the right material. So it's called context engineering, right? For instance, when I am working on an animation or trying to come up with a storyboard, well, I'm feeding it other storyboards I have created by hand or something like that. So the AI will never be one of those tools where you can completely rely on it, or even before or after. You're going to have to really feed it the right materials and background story and context, so you can then prompt. Because believe it or not, I've fed ChatGPT, one of my favorite tools, of course, like everybody else. I fed it enough context around Ocean Bowl and Steam Your Dreams and seeing what I'm doing, that now I can that's a perfect existence. Now I got a virtual assistant. Like, hey, I need something real quick to send an email response to somebody who's asking about a one-pager for Ocean Bowl games. No problem, Roman. I can't wait for it to say my name like that. Because I'm a Trekkie. And those who know about Star Trek, again, we're moving there. So feed the AI engine. Now, some word of advice that I'm seeing right there. Again, me power advice. Again, heads up. I say industry observations. I said trends, good and bad. Here's the bad. In this world that we're living in right now, I see a great deal of this happening to some of my colleagues that still work for other people. there's some black ice going on. There's a hidden layer of unconscious bias and sabotage that's going on right now that's affecting people in their jobs. Now, what is the outcome of that? The behaviors that create that, I can tell you right now, you see people deliberately misrepresenting or minimizing someone's contributions and stuff like that. They're setting people up to get fired, you know? So, you know, and that's what's happening right now. So why would I bring that up here? Because on this platform, it's good to mention in the technology field that you got to be expected to do more with less. And people are going to be watching you, but in particularly for individuals of certain underrepresented communities, such as Black or Brown, they getting put on situations where people are just nitpicking and finding things. So I figure this would be a perfect opportunity to bring up to you about Black Ice and what we can do to hopefully do this, because a lot of good talent is being lost for that. And why I bring this up again is because we're losing tons of good talent in the IT field, right? Because of people just doing just stupid stuff and people trying to cut back and make money, or they're trying to cut back and get ready for AI to really take on that job. Okay, next slide for me. Now, how do the creative process, and we're going to do a demo after this. You are the art. Voltron is my classic, dude. I just put this slide together. Anthony will tell you, and I just want to make sure I say the last thing. Make continuous improvements with STEM through your art, okay? Because in order to make it happen, this is like a creative mindset guiding purpose framework that I've been using. Answer that call, keep the people you're serving as your North Star. Use your faith, because you're going to need that. People are going to think what you're doing and doubt it, you know, because when you're trying to do more or less, especially if you have a nonprofit or something like that, you're asking for money and people like, where's your body of work? You know, who are you? You know, and I'm gonna knock down a fab right now about grants. You'll hear that, you see people talking about, well, just get a grant, like it's that easy. No, it's not. You have to, it goes back to the human connection again. If I have a relationship with you, then you know me, then if I put past a grant to you, plus you know my body of work, I have a higher chance and probability of getting that grant. It still boils down to the human factor. So you'll take a lottery crap shot by submitting for a grant, and it's not that easy a lot of times. And of course, now you have tools like AI that can completely help you do spell check and write your artifacts, your documents better. But you know, getting grants is not as easy as everybody say it is. You want to build the relationship with the people that are doing the grants. So I hopefully gave y'all a truth about that myth, right? Okay. All right, next slide. Alcohol League, another logo. I'm doing a quick test. Which one y'all like more? Hit the next for me. Okay, which one stands out the most? Go back. Which one stands out more? Slow-go test. Which one gets you? Show of hands, which one gets you? This one? Or go back to the other one before this? Or that one? This one? This one? Okay, what about the next one? What's wrong with this one? It's a mess. It's too busy, huh? Yeah. All right. Yeah. What was that little exercise I just did? Feedback. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful opportunity to be here. They would ignite. It's time for demo time. Do we have some more time for demo? Yeah. Okay. So let's hit next, and we go past this slide. And prototype. I want to show you guys. We'll try to make this speed this fast. For those online, we'll give you a second to see this link. We'll probably put it in the chat box. If you wanted to see what it felt like, literally, out of the 4 games that I've built with my team, Ballin' Out was the second game I've ever built. And I'm giving you an example of this game on how we started with a prototype. Can you show them the prototype? Yeah, this is what the game first originally started. So Anthony, whose gamer name is what? And how do you spell your gamer name again?
Letter, and the W's are capitalized.
Okay. This is Ballin' Out, and this is one of my favorite new games. We normally use this game a lot with the book series. A real gift that we create. Again, this is the first book in the Ocean Bowl series, and he has to hit the right arrow and just jump. So this is a prototype, and we use the Unity WebGL. So there are tools available. Again, if you wanted to build video games, because that's what I can talk to you right now best. If you want to build in this conversation, this Fireside Chat, you want to do video games, you have to get developers. You can use Fiverr, but you can also go, if you want to do it yourself, which you more than likely have to, You can use Unity. You can use Unreal Engine, which we're using for one of our games. Okay? Now, let's show them the other game, the other version. This was the next iteration. All right? So remember, everything that Creative Mindset Production does, as far as when it builds games, is edutainment. Where's the education in that previous version? None, right? But now when you play in this version, we said let's incorporate the engine, the trivia assessment engine. So what we have done is built an engine called STEAM IQ, which houses curriculum courses on STEM that now you're able to log in and download directly in the game. So now when a kid is playing the game, they hit a little icon in the game, a question pops up, and it gives them a power up. Okay. Next one, the next version of the game came along where now you can go to itch.io. And this is actually even more, this was a public release. This is 1.0 of Ballin' Out. All the other ones were previous versions. This is actually, exactly, pre-beta. Thank you. This is 1.0 of the game. So let's make it bigger. Let's see what it looks like if we can. Disrupting the stream. Awesome sauce. Oh, okay. Did it? Okay. So let's answer that question. Again, you need the book, right? We're inspiring kids to read the book to understand the questions they may receive in the game. So again, reinforcing English language arts and STEM with the kids. So you hear the music, you see the art. Again, this is just ways that we get the kids excited and engaged and get them excited about that. So the answer to this, in book are real good. Okay? What team does Odin play for? He's like, I don't know. Right, he's had to read it. See, exactly. You see, that's what I do. I get kids going with that. So the answer is Triton. Yep, that's right. You took an educated guess, right? Okay. All right, so that's just a demo. I hope you guys online will go ahead and have some fun. The links are, again, available in the presentation. You'll get, this is one of the 4 games, the e-games that we have. And then another game that we have is Alcohol League. You guys can get a preview of. It's on our gaming PC over here. So I don't know if we got people still online or whatever who wants to stay on while I hopefully get some people to test out the games with us. But I also have my big trusty Pack and Go, what we call our Steam box. And anybody who wants to come, because we can show and broadcast a little mini gaming right now. Anybody wants to experiment playing one of our other games called beach balling? Anybody want to do that? 2 versus 2? Anybody? You want to play? No? No? She's like, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Let me show you what it looks like. All right. So this is beach ball, another game that we built, again, rapid firing, rapid development, rapid prototyping. Beach ball is one of those games. And how you play this game is I'm just going to go play mode. Well, you know what? I'm going to go play. I'm going to go play against the computer. I have a name. I'll go 2 minutes, 2 seconds, hit that. And notice this game is supposed to be played like 1 versus 1. Like when I'm designing and building games, a lot of times I want kids to come back old school. I want you to play like arcade style or local couch co-op. So I want you to come play against each other. So that's what this game is doing. One player is facing it. Sometimes we play 2 versus 2. One player is right here, one player is right here, one player is right here. So you're able to press that. So multiply 4 times 30. What is that? Exactly. Easy money. And I get a power up for that. In this game, all you do is tap the dolphin, and the dolphin's going to squirt out water to hit the ball. Exactly. A lot of the kids they just adore beach ball because they have to get the timing right. They got power-ups in the game. And notice I'm going to use the super shooter. I'm going to use that to block just in case he tries to score. But there you go. And now I need to re-up on shots. So to get new shots, I will go find the missing number. You know, it says 75. 7 times what equals 75? Nobody knows? 6? Okay, easy, right? So that's beach ball. And we have, again, 2 other games that are available to play. I noticed I can get nobody to demo this game. But is this game hooked up to the, let me see. I can put that on here too. I forgot to do that, Eduardo. This is Alcohol League, the latest version of it. And again, this is usually played with Xbox controllers off the PC. It's a lot of times we use this to engage kids, to teach them how to design 3D characters using AI. Meshy AI is a wonderful, cool tool. So we actually run programming. So not only we get kids to do the program to learn how to do it, but we also inspire them to take their characters and put them in the game. And sometimes sometimes we might even give them some prizes and awards for who has the best characters or who has designed the best board. So again, I want to thank you guys for tonight. And I appreciate your time. I'm going to open up for Q&A.
We have just a couple of minutes for Q&A. So if anybody here in the audience have a question for a speaker, if anybody online has a question, please post it in the chat. Questions here? Questions online? Oh yeah. There's some comments online. So
I'm coming over here with you now. The tracking is on.
Yes, you can follow. Earlier when you asked if there were any other terps, we had one online. Amy said B-Ball 2006 terp, also a proud Raptor and Blazer. Let me see. Anthony Avalar online said when you posted the slide about the statistics, this slide reminds me of a quote I read somewhere recently on a blog. The most pivotal moments in your life hinge on your ability to tell a story.
Absolutely. Love that.
Looks like we have And now we have a question, also from Anthony. I'm interested in helping develop edutainment games. How might I contribute with your org, Roman?
Right. I was just having an interesting discussion with Ms. Akila Stevens earlier, since she's the executive director of Steam Your Dreams. A lot of kids ask us that, and adults, young adults, of course, ask us how can they be a part of it. Creative Mindset Productions is a for-profit company. Of course, we do hire interns or paid interns. It's a value proposition. You know, what can you do to help us continue to build these entertainment games to get them out to market? Definitely. So you can definitely reach out to us. The best way to reach out, and there's a slide for that, by the way. I think go back to the slides because that's on the screen. But yeah, that'd be a great pull-up way to close. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's my LinkedIn. Definitely reach out to me. And definitely, we're interested. As far as Steam Your Dreams, we do a lot of coaching, some programming in Montgomery County. Right now, we work with Montgomery County Recs and Parks. And we need coaches for that. Coaches get paid pretty good money, actually, for part-time work to reach out and work with kids with STEAM programming. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Employees do you have right now? Where do you see it going in like the next 5 years? Like project. I have like 3 questions. Sorry.
Okay, I'll try to walk it back. So the first one was,
When did you create your first like entrepreneurship, like LLC or
in 2019.
in 2019?
Right.
And then how many employees do you have right now currently?
Right now, I use a freelance work model. I have a lot of more fiber contractors I'm working with because again, doing less with more.
Right.
And of course, I have interns working. So as employees, we have 2, 3 part-time interns, and then myself and freelance workers. So about 5 of us at this little indie game studio.
Fun. Before you answer my last question about 5-year plan, like where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the most, what brings you the most joy from like I guess from doing less with more? It's an intimate 5 people contract worker. Do you find more joy with that dynamic or model, or have you worked?
A big corporate space. I think the moment I listen to that calling at that purpose, I find it extremely joy when I see the results, when I see them jumping and hollering and seeing them learning without even like fussing about them learning. So that joy, fuels me, gives me passion and energy, ignites me and to continue to build, cool educated products for them.
Well,
So
it's been really rewarding for you.
yeah,
So 5-year plan forward, where do
5-year
you
plan?
see this? Yeah.
alcohol league.
Okay.
It's all we're going all in on getting this to market. Alcohol league will be available early access through. We'll start with Steam platform. It's a Steam Value. It's a gaming platform. And it means you can play on PC. And then, of course, the plan is to roll it out through Xbox and Switch, Nintendo Switch. So Agua League will be a for-profit, IP game consoles. And my vision 5 years, you want to
All
know?
of that, yeah.
Yeah, but and I share this all with my team. Aqua League is going to help carry us, Stevie Dreams, because when Stevie Dreams started, we had no money. We didn't. So CNP had to cover, a lot of building. And CNP had to establish, mindset production. My for-profit company, whatever I was doing there with my clients, I had to use that money to help fuel to get things going for the nonprofit. And then we immediately start getting income sometimes through City Dreams from programming. But CMPs, the Alcohol League is IP of all Ocean Bowl items are all intellectual property of Creative Mindset Production, right? So City Dreams licenses Ocean Bowl products to then create programming for kids. So the reality is, my vision for that is Alcohol League is going to be offered early access for like the first 100,000 people for the first year or two when we start launching next year. But then we're going to make it completely free to play. And then the reason why we'll be able to make money still off Alcohol League, because then if the kids or players want to earn more, do more, play a special league, they have to play, purchase a certain card or purchase to do that. But the reality is, ultimately, my vision for that is that we'll build a foundation. What do you call it? I don't have a brain for it because it's late. But the term is an endowment. Most nonprofits, especially in aquariums and zoos and stuff like that, in schools or whatever, have an endowment, right? And my whole idea is to have Stevie Dreams form a Stevie Dreams Foundation, where then profits, a great portion of the profits from Alcohol League will go into that foundation to help keep Stevie Dreams and sustain it and provide scalability for it. Because right now, do less was more. What helped inspire this Fireside chat was the fact that, yes, the grants, no, we're not getting those. We're not even trying to invest to spend money on that, because you'll spend money for a grant writer, $5,000-$10,000 for a grant writer, still not getting the grant. There's no guarantee. So we choose to invest that back in our products, in our service offerings, in our solution packages. And we're not building any real more logo. That's it. We got enough games. That's why we got 4 mobile games. We got enough books. We got Alcohol League that we're going to go all hands, all in, and just make that happen. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all your questions. This was such a great presentation. What a way to kickstart this season, right? Let's give another round of applause to Roman. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you for your passion. Thank you for everything that you are doing. Really, I think that it's people like you that really help change this world. So thank you so much. We would like, first of all, to thank Verizon for sponsoring this series. The meal that we enjoyed prior to the presentation is the way that they are sponsoring this series. And I like to remind our audience that our guest speakers are volunteers. They are not paid, they are not compensated. They come here and they share their time, their knowledge, and their passion with all of us. So thank you so much for doing this again, Roman. And just as a token of our appreciation, we have this little, just a little bit of, so you want so you will remember us wherever you go. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And just before we leave, just like Roman said, this is being recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Everybody that registered for this event, regardless if you were able to attend or not, will receive a link to, when the video is posted. and also a PDF version of this presentation, which has a ton of great information. So you'll be receiving that in the next 48 hours. So that's that. Also, I would like to remind you that some of the events that we have going on this month at Ignite Hub. So tomorrow we have our career workshop, and again, it's hybrid. So if you haven't registered, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about transferable skills, and next Tuesday, I start my series again that we do every season for IT career pathways. It's going to be a three-part series on the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. And it's for anybody that is interested into getting in a career in IT or switching to a career in IT. Also, on the 18th, we have our first Future of Tech Launch and Learn, and we are going to have Jefferson Stovall, and he's going to be talking about empowering business through AI from strategy to solutions. Again, there's a lot of AI going on in this season, so very, very much so. We also have on the 24th an info session. Our friends are the Navy Labs from Hard Rock, will be here to let us know about opportunities for internships for high school and college students. And that's just this month. Please, for a full calendar of what's coming this season, please visit our website, register for these events. I would like to remind you that most of them are hybrid and all of them are free. Right before you leave, Anthony, thank you so much. Anthony, put that QR code. I will gonna ask you to please take a minute of your time and fill out this survey. This really, really help us. And we will share the results of your comments with our guest speaker. And it helps us a lot because this informs us on what you want to hear, what you like to hear. I hope our friends in line, please also, Anthony posted the link. And again, once again, I would like to thank you all for being here. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here and spend these 2 hours with us, and we truly appreciate that. We hope to see you soon, and have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.